Hello everyone, this is F32 back again with another How to Play. Today we're looking at how to play Subatomic, an atom building game by John Covia and Genius Games. Seal of Excellence from Dice Tower, it says. It's a pretty big box, pretty big game. For 2 to 4 players, you just 14 it up. It has a lot of stuff obviously to do with atoms and, as you can see, neutrons, photons, electrons. You don't need to be a scientist or genius to play this game. You don't need to know anything about science to play this game. Just the basics, really, of card games. In this case, it's a deck building game where you're going to be starting off with a deck of cards. Each player is going to have the same cards: 4 down quirks, 4 up quirks, and 3 photon gamma ray cards. And you'll shuffle those up to start off. And as far as other setups concerned, and of course, on top of the rules, you also get well, actually, it's the rule book. This is the science behind this game, because there is science involved. And it's pretty cool that they make that. They also have information on scientists that are featured in this game. I'm noticing there's 9 scientists here, but I don't think this one is in the book. I believe it's an expansion. This one here, Paul Direct. It is what it is. So each player is going to be starting off with that hand of cards. Each player also has 10 colored blocks that match the chalk that is on your player board. Each player is going to have a different color. There's also purple, green, and white. You're going to set up over here on the board this black cube on the starting point. This is for 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. This is an Annihilation Cube. It'll let you annihilate these cards so you can start fresh with some new cards if you don't like those, but there is a cost to that. And each player on the player board also has these 3 little pieces. They are particle markers, and you're going to be using these to keep score. So whenever I create an electron, I move it over to 1. I make another one, I move it over to 2. And same thing with these. I'll start off on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once I get to the top of each one of these, I have created, well, actually, I don't need to go all the way up to the top. But basically, you're going to be kind of keeping score here. And once you reach a certain level, you'll be able to buy some of these elements. And that's your ultimate goal, is to buy these elements and control them, essentially. How you're going to do that is with your starter cards and building them up via these cards. Now, we also have a start player token, which is an atom, which is pretty cool. And you also have these bonus tiles here. There's 7 total. You're going to shuffle them up face down and then place 5 out onto here. And whenever you create one of these, for instance, let's say I get helium, I will be able to collect that bonus tile. And it says gain 4 energy. In this case, I apologize about the lighting not being the best. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, gain 4 energy of that one. This one is draw 3 cards. This is draw 2 cards and gain 2 energy. Take 1 single subatomic card, gain 3 subatomic particles. This one is plus 2 points. And this one is annihilate for free. But these ones are out of the game because they're not on the board. As well, I guess we'll get to that in a bit, but you're going to start off with these cards. Each player has a starter deck. And of course, as I also mentioned, we have energy tokens, which are just paper tokens, cardboard tokens. And you'll be collecting these and spending these. Different things have different costs, as you'll see. I'll try to keep this very brief, though. So whoever has the first player marker is going to go first, and then you continue clockwise. And And your turn is going to consist of 2 steps. 1, to play cards to take actions, and then 2, refresh the play areas. Pretty self-explanatory. And what you're going to be doing is building up your atoms so you can claim an element card, and claim an element card to score points, and then buy deck building cards to strengthen your deck, and take energy tokens to store for use later on. And so I believe you're going to draw 5 cards to start off with. And I guess these would start here in these little circles. And if you have 3 cards that are the same, you're allowed to saw everyone, put it in your discard, and redraw. What you're going to be doing is using the cards in your hand to perhaps buy one of these cards. So in order to get the proton, you need 2 up quarks and 1 down quark, which I have. The electron is just 2 photons, which I have. And this one is 2 down quark and 1 up quark, and this one is 1 of each of these up quark, down quark, and photons, and 2 energies, which I do not have any energy to start off the game. You'll get energy with different cards. So what I can do, and of course there's different costs as well. This one costs nothing, these cards. This one is going to cost 1 energy, 2 energy, and 3 energy. And with these ones, I believe you're going to gain energy. Or is that a cost? I believe that's a cost as well. So I'm going to use 2 photons. I can also place cards face down if I want to. And placing the cards face down allows me to use them as energy. So yeah, so I can play these 2 to get that electron if I want, but I can also, if I want, that's a good example here. This one costs 1 energy, so I can play these 2 and this one, and place one of these face down as 1 energy, and I can collect this one. But let's just say I use these ones, I put this in the discard. I'll put them all in the discard at this point. Well, whatever. And I'm going to collect this electron and add it to my discard as well. And then, that could be my turn. You can do as many actions, I believe, as you can. You're then going to move these all over and add a new card. So these cards are always going to get cheaper as the game continues. Eventually, let's say I've collected some cards, maybe I have some neutrons. I could then use these, if I have these in my hand, to, along with a couple of energy, to upgrade to this card, which is 2 energy and 2 neutrons. And then eventually, you're going to continue to build up your deck, and eventually, you're going to be moving these here. I should probably... And again, you can collect energy tokens by playing cards from your hand face down. So let's say I got some energy tokens. And it says here what you can do as well. Build your atom, claim an element card, buy deck cards take energy tokens, and these are what the energy actions do. 1 energy lets you swap any row. 2 energy lets you draw 1 card and X amount of energy, annihilate 2 cards. And 1 card face down equals 1 energy. So yeah, in that first hand, I played 2 photons to acquire that 1 card, and then I played 3 cards face down to acquire 3 energy. We continue to go around. I've acquired more energy and more cards. Hopefully this is all making sense. Eventually, if I want to, I can use energy to buy these scientists, which are going to be worth special abilities. Like for instance, this one, I can look at another player's hand and mimic any 2 of the subatomic cards. All other players may discard 1 card and draw 1 new one. These are all going to be different. There's different accents, but they're expensive, as you can tell. But they're helpful as well. Draw 2 cards or draw 3 cards of all other players and draw 1 card. So you can draw 2 cards or draw 3 cards, but all other players will draw 1 as well. Is a pretty cool one. I believe different scientists have different types of abilities. Like that guy's drawing, this one's mimicking, etc., etc. Eventually, I'm going to build up my atom. So for instance, I believe the way it works is, I can play these here, and then I get an electron and an atom and a neutron instead of using them for energy or to buy cards. And then maybe I get a couple more neutrons. And eventually, once I've got enough on the board here, I can get elements on my turn instead of, taking other actions, or on top of taking my other actions, I can get the elements. So for instance, if I have, let's say I'm up to 4 protons and 5 neutrons and 2 electrons, let's say I've collected those, I can spend 5 energy to buy the beryllium. And then I would add that to my hand. And that's going to be, worth something. And of course we'll replace this. And once I do that, I take one of my tokens and I'm going to put that on. I'm going to take this beryllium, since I've gotten the element for beryllium, and that's going to give me this benefit. And then I take one of my tokens and I place it on, maybe I place it on boron. I can place it on anything except the beryllium. And eventually, we're going to have these all over the place. And this is for end goals, which we'll get to. So you're going to keep playing the game. And having these here can potentially get me extra points at the end of the game. And other players are going to have their tokens on there as well, and maybe some of these will be gone. So how does the game end once you've done that? The game will end once you've placed the last of your goal markers on the board here. Once you've placed your last 2 goal markers on the board, that's the last round. You're going to go one more round. And you continue clockwise until the player directly to the right of the first player has played, saying that everyone gets an equal turn. And then anyone who has any gold markers remaining can place exactly 2 of them on that board. So, scoring wise, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get 1 point from element cards that you claimed during the game, and you're going to get points from the element cards you claimed during the game and from your end goals that correspond to those element cards. So, let's say I got beryllium here. This is going to be 3 points. So, and of course you can have multiple, obviously. Yeah. You can have multiple lithium, multiple of other cards. I'm losing cards. Let's say I have something like this for the end. Let's say I've collected all these elements. Why not? Why not? Oops. So you're going to look at these for the purposes of scoring. You're going to get points related to these. You're going to get points for each of these mass numbers. So this is 11, 4, 4, 7, 7, 9. Those are those points I'm going to get for each of these cards. 4 points for helium, 7 for lithium, 9 for beryllium, 11 for boron. So boron's a good one, obviously. Worth a lot of points. And you're also going to get points if you have the most or second most goal markers on each end goal. So if I have the most goal markers, let's say, what is this one here? Let's say I have the most goal markers on beryllium, which I have a bunch there. I'm going to get 3 points for each beryllium card. Second most would get 1. So if I have the most, I would get 3 points. If I have the second most, I get 1. And you can see more of the scoring here. Each different card is going to have different points depending on if you have the most or second most goal markers on there. If you have a tie for most or second most goal markers, then you're just going to add the number of points for that tie-in position and the position below it, and divide those equally amongst the players. It's a little bit confusing, but basically, that is it. You're going to be collecting cards. You're going to be building up your deck. You're going to be building up this, getting energy, using energy to buy better cards, perhaps. And eventually, you'll be placing tokens on here when you buy elements. And you'll add elements to your hand. And eventually you'll score points. And of course, you can get the scientists for more points. There's more scientists here. There's 7 sets, I believe. 3 of each scientist. You can use whatever scientist you want. 4 different scientists during the game, I believe, you're going to be using. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting game. There's a lot to it. I tried to cover it as best as I could. I apologize if that's not, if I missed anything, or if I didn't cover anything well enough. But one little thing I should mention here, you got 2 different decks here of these, I guess, particles. There's subatomic cards. These are all single subatomic cards. You got neutrons, electrons, and protons. And these ones are 1 of each, kind of wild cards, but the more expensive. These ones, indicated by the symbol on the corner, have multiple elements on them here. Multiple subatomic cards. For instance, 1 proton, 1 neutron, 2 of each, 2 protons, 2 neutrons, etc., etc. There are some wild cards, I guess, even like these ones. So that's what you get for these decks. You'll be, again, collecting them. Again, these ones are free. These ones are worth 1, 2, and 3. These ones are worth 3, 4, and 5. It's indicated. When I collect one of these, the rest move over, and the new one gets added to the end. So cards are going to get cheaper as they move along. And you can use that to build up your hand, to score these, to then buy these once you've gotten what you need for one of these cards. If I get 2 proton, 2 neutron, 2 electron, I can get this one, the helium, for instance, paying 4 energy, of course. And of course, on your turn, when you're playing cards from your hand, you can always play cards face down to collect energy or to pay energy instead of energy if you don't have energy. And yeah, again, when you collect one of these cards, you collect, if you're the first one, you collect one of these tokens. This is only for the first person to collect a boron, a beryllium, a lithium, and a helium. This is if you collect a complete set of elements, you get this bonus. Again, just the first player gets that. And you place a token. You cannot place a token if I collect a complete element set, for instance. I cannot place a token here. I have to place it somewhere else. This lets you annihilate cards. So if I don't like these cards, I can pay a cost and I can annihilate this entire row and get fresh cards. And these are gone. And every time you annihilate, you're going to move this up. And it's going to cost more and more. And this is the Paul Dirac, actually. And yeah, I think that covers it more or less. And I apologize if I missed anything. Comment, like, subscribe, let me know what you think. I think it's a pretty cool game, but there's a lot to it. If you like deck building, I think you'll like this one. We'll see you next time with more. Thanks for watching.